Alright, so here is part 2 of the massive Nintendo eShop summer sale. And there were so many games, it was just really hard to pin down a number of games that I felt like maybe haven't been covered in a lot, but are also really, really good, and then games that don't go on sale very often. So this is my attempt at that. And let me start with the very first one, which is not part of the summer sale, but in itself it is on sale, and it is a simulator game, which I think, a lot of times simulator games are a lot of fun. Well, this game is called Wolf Simulator. Right now it's $1.99, down from $9.99. There's a reason why it's $1.99, and I hope I was able to get some good screen capture on this, but Wolf Simulator is trash. It doesn't tell you anything about how to control your wolf or really anything much about it, and also if you run around, it seems to be like you're in North America, but yet it's very easy to just find like a random tiger or all sorts of random animals that don't belong in North America. It's hilarious in that aspect, but it is a horrible game. Do not waste your money on it. Now, talking about simulator games, though, that you should waste your money on, let me tell you about a game called House Flipper. Now, this game is awesome. I absolutely love this game. It's like super addictive. Like I spent so much time. There was one night that was like all I played. I ended up buying my own house and I ended up flipping it. You see, you can do jobs where you're just like cleaning up someone's house or you're doing like small renovations, things like that. And you're trying to save up money so that you can then start flipping houses. And that's what I actually started to do. And my God, it is so much fun. I can't explain why it is so almost therapeutic. And at least digitally, I can now make my dad proud. Look, I'm a man. I can do manly stuff. But right now, the game is $9.99, down from $19.99, and it really is worth it. Another series that is on sale right now, and it varies from $5.99 to $11.99, depending on which game you get, but it's Danganronpa. Now, if you've never played these games, they are a narrative-based, almost detective thriller type game, where you and another group of teenagers are all stuck in usually a school of some sort, and you're trying to figure out who is murdering you. At the same time, there's this bear that is antagonizing the whole situation and trying to get you to blame other people. The game will go into like this court type mode where you have to defend yourself or come up with reasons why you think someone else is the murderer. The point is someone amongst your group is a murderer and you just gotta figure it out. It's pretty cool. It's definitely been a series that I've really gotten into. Speaking of series and game styles that I've recently gotten into, Dark Souls, which is never on sale, has finally gone on sale, and for me this was a perfect time to pick it up. Right now it is $19.99 and typically it's $39.99, so it was really good to get this while I could, because again, this game just doesn't go on sale very often, and I've really found myself to understand like the Souls-like games a little bit better and maybe be less intimidated by them, because they really aren't as hard as what people make them out to be. It's just, I think you go in there with that intimidation that it's going to be difficult and you don't even try. You just assume you're gonna die and you're not gonna make it. Yes, there are some parts where it's a little bit difficult and it's gonna take some trial and error, but when you're able to actually beat one of the bosses, it just feels awesome, and you really start to learn the rhythm of the game, so to speak. I've had a whole lot of fun getting into Dark Souls, and I'm just really glad I was able to grab this game while it's on sale, because again, it's very rare that this game goes on sale. And while we're talking about really difficult games, let me introduce you to an RPG that really reminds me of Darkest Dungeon, but honestly harder. This game is called Vambrace Cold Soul. Now right now, this game is $2.49, down from $24.99, and you play the character who is sort of on an expedition to find out about your father, but you're in this very hellscapish frozen tundra of a world, and you're the only one who can really explore, so you have to lead an expedition. Now thanks to the bracer that your father gave you, you're able to pass through these barriers that would kill most people, but while you're out there, your team goes insane, there's not a good place to heal or to save, and this game just gets incredibly difficult, like incredibly difficult. I couldn't imagine even getting through like the first couple levels, so for me, yeah, it was a game I kind of gave up on rather early, but I could see where a lot of people would really enjoy it and really test themselves with it. It's very difficult, like I said, but it is kind of a fun game to play with such different mechanics to it and really, really impressive graphics. I gotta say that like all the character models look really great in this one. Within the last year or so, so, I've been really wanting to play BioShock 3. I know a lot of people have talked about it and how it was a big difference from the original first and second game, but that a lot of people really enjoyed it. And for some reason, I never beat it. I never really even owned it, if I'm being honest. I was really into the first one. I liked the second one enough that I had the collector's edition, and yet I don't even remember beating the second one, if I'm honest. And so I ended up buying both of them, and the main one that I ended up playing was BioShock 2, because as I went through the game, I really didn't remember most of it. And right now the game is $9.99, down from $19.99, so it seemed like a really good time to pick it up. I've been playing it and enjoying it, and really impressed with what the Switch can do with this game. Like, it does remind me so much of the way it used to look. Like, and I know it should, like the Switch should definitely do that, but to have that handheld is really nice. And it's just been a lot of fun to play the game, and honestly, looking at it from an older standpoint, or maybe even just paying attention more to the story, I don't know, maybe when I was like a kid I didn't pay attention, but now that I am, the story is really, really epic, and it makes a lot more sense now, which I guess that matters if you actually, I don't know, pay attention. Have you ever heard of a game called Pikun Inku? If you haven't, I may just not be saying it right, because there's a good chance I'm not. This is a great release from Devolver Digital, and I ended up picking it up rather recently for only $3.24, down from $12.99. Now, this game seems to be just kind of like a silly physics-based type game, but in actuality, this game is a lot deeper than it appears. You see, this game is based around this corporation who ends up taking quote-unquote junk, things that people don't need, and in return they give them a ton of money. But over time they realize that the things that they need are the things that this company's taking. And it's not junk, it's things like water, food, trees, things that are important for a society to grow, but as the people who live there have issues with it, they just get faced with a gigantic machine that comes and handles all the collecting. They don't even get to make a deal anymore or talk to the big corporation. They'll just either get sucked up or destroyed in the machine, which is happening quite often. And as you get through the game, you start to realize there's an even sinister plot going on. This is a really cool game with a lot of important storytelling aspects while also just being kind of silly and fun. Now, it is pretty difficult, honestly. Not difficult as far as combat, but as far as some of the puzzles go, it can be kind of a pain in the butt, but it is a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it. Another game that is on a really good sale right now is Persona 5 Strike. This game is $17.99 and it is typically like $59.99, which is insane. It might be $49.99, but it's something up there in that $50 to $60 range, and you can only get it for $20 right now. But I will say there is a pretty strong caveat with that, and that is you don't have to play Persona 5 play Strikers, but it really, really, really helps. Like, this is one of those games where it doesn't exactly tie into it, but it might as well. Like, this might as well be a sequel to Persona 5, and we know that they're working on Persona 5 Tactics, and that's supposed to come out later on this year, and I think that's going to be a sequel to Persona 5 Strikers. So if you're really interested in Persona 5, I would recommend now being the time to get Persona 5 Strikers. Speaking of Persona, and also an amazing deal right now is Persona 4 Golden, $15.99, and let me tell you, this is a game that I've been working on since January. I've been really trying to get a full review of this game out since, yes, January, and I played about 82 hours, and I still know from the game that I have about another 20 to 25% of the game left. This game has some amazing characters that have a lot of depth to them, and honestly really make you care about them. Like, there are characters that you almost feel like you know, like they're your friends. It's crazy how much time you end up spending with them, and the fact that as you're playing this game, which is an incredibly fun JRPG and has some really great storytelling aspects, you also just spend an incredible amount of time just hanging out and doing like bonding stuff. And when I mean bonding stuff, yes, there is a social system, and you can date one of your teammates, or you can just become really good friends. But the important thing is, the more strong your bond is, the more abilities that they have for their persona. All of this plays into what it turns out to be just an epic masterpiece of a video game. And honestly, I'm not even scratching the surface on all the things that are available in this game, nor am I even talking about the main story, which is really epic. It's basically a story where you're trying to solve a murderer, a serial murderer who's going around this small town killing a lot of people, and you're trying to figure out who it is and what the connections are. At the same time, though, there's just so many other things to do. I spent a whole lot of time just farming materials so that I could sell to the shopkeep and buy better and better weapons. And then, side quests galore. There's a ton of extra characters that you can add to your team, and just your characters that are available themselves, they're really great to have hangout sessions with. And there's things like going to play basketball, or just like practicing karate, or going to the mall. All of these things are things that really suck you into the game. And it's kind of crazy because they do it in such a way that it doesn't take up too much time. If you're going to hang out with some of your friends in the game, it might be like a 5 to 7 minute little thing. And there'll be enough that gets you hooked, like you're interested in the conversation or you're interested in that character now. Not to mention the other characters that are also incredibly complex and have their own almost life in themselves. So yes, this is an amazing game that for $15.99, it for me is the best deal you can get. Anything, where you're looking for 100 hours of gaming, this is definitely it. And it's also just quality gaming. It's not like, and I don't want to crap on like Ubisoft or something, but it's not one of those games that just has like a lot of fetch quests. And yes, it's big, but it's just big because it's big. There's no content behind it. No, there is a ton of content, and this is an amazing game that I think is one of the true masterpieces of RPG game. Anyway, those are all of the games that I've been picking up while on sale. I know there's a ton, and this is a long ass video that I tried to go through really quickly and still ended up being at, well, over 12 minutes, at least right now. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Please let me know what you guys are going to pick up. If there's anything that you're interested in or anything like that. I recently learned about Windscape from Sarah here at the community, and I went ahead and picked that up, and that game looks awesome. So yeah, please let me know what games you guys are playing or which ones you're interested in picking up. Really just helps spread that information and spread that love. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. I love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.